Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Crimi-Trent. Today I'm going to talk about the 3 C's of watercolor. Yes, 3 C's. I have a thing I call the 3 C's that helps me to determine what I'm going to paint, how I'm going to paint, and what I'm going to do. These are very simple, straightforward tools to help you if you're just beginning watercolor and you're trying to figure out where to start. So let's get started with the number 3. So the number 3 thing is the concept or the composition, right? If you don't know where to begin, you just look at reference for the concept and the composition. I have printed out a picture of a beautiful floral bouquet on Pinterest. That's a good reference place to go look for ideas and composition. And so you see, even though it's in a bouquet in a vase, I will use this composition in a way where it's not in the vase, it's just loose flowers, but it gives me the idea of painting the flowers in an angle, going from left to right, on a diagonal, or, switching the flowers this way. But it really helps with the composition. The composition is the starting point. Obviously you need the paper, but it's the starting point of every design. Okay, so like the first one I told you, composition. You can just start off by sketching out some ideas. I've got a couple of boxes here on how you want your arrangement or design to go. Like I said, in this photograph that I had, it was coming on an angle, so you can start to make flowers going on one angle with the foliage. It's going up from the corner of the right down to the left, just to give you an idea of that kind of composition, right? You could also have one that's more centered. Put the flowers in the center, stems, and little delicate flowers on the outside. Again, you can do another one cascading from the left to the right downward. So you have your flowers here, and I'm just roughing in how I want it to look, the placement of it all, not the actual detailed minutia of flowers. See the difference in them going from on the right side and the left side. And then you could just have it sporadically all over. So you could have some that are down here, and then way over here, and a few in the center, and a little more here, a lot of white space over in here. You're just going to play around on how you want it to look. So you can actually take the reference material like I showed you here and create those flowers in these compositions. So you have your reference of the flowers and how you're taking that photograph and recreating for your own. You're using the photograph of the colorization and the flowers. So you had an anemone, you can put one over in here. You don't have to follow the bouquet. You like the way the colors look and the actual flower and the way the flowers are, but you're going to recreate them in a different composition. And that's how you're changing it to make it your own. If you don't have actual bouquets like this and you can't afford to have a florist make them for you, you're going to have to use reference in a way that's helpful for you to be more creative in your composition. Pull it out of the box. So you can keep adding on the stems and whatnot and the composition, and this one too. So that's how you create a composition that's unique to you. The second most important C of all is color. I'm known to think that color is actually number 1, but color is the most important thing besides composition. What palette you're going to use, what tones you're going to use. In the floral reference that I showed you right here, these are really whites with couple of peachy and yellows and reds. Do you want it in that tone? Do you want it in a blue tone? Do you want a mixed tone? It would be important to start with a palette to begin with to figure out what colors you want to paint the flowers as opposed to just haphazardly painting it. And if you've been painting for a long time, you can obviously just go ahead and do that. But it's really important to start with a cohesive palette so that you're not just wandering around trying to figure out what to paint and what colors you should paint it. And it really helps also in the process. So having a good palette, start off just by mixing colors and placing them down on a piece of paper and seeing how they play with each other and see if you like that, you don't like that. That's a good way to start. Okay, to start off this color palette, I'm showing this quite fast, but I'm taking yellow, cadmium deep, and quinacridone magenta, and mixing different pinks and yellows and oranges. I mix the colors together to get this blush tone. You know, I mix it by itself with water by diluting it to get a lighter pink. Here you see me mixing the quinacridone magenta with the yellow and getting that blush tone, and then watering down that pink to get it really light yellow. Then I'll take my cadmium green deep, mix it with that yellow, and get different green tones. I get a light green and a dark green, and I add a little of the magenta to it. The light green, I add the yellow to it. So this is the kind of the palette I'm going to be going by. I'll probably add a few more oranges or blushes. You see I'm adding another blush tone, and probably another light, very light pink tone. And then next I'll add a very dark green tone. It's always good to have a really good variety of greens, dark, light, medium, in your paintings. And then lastly I'll add an indigo that would be in the center of the anemone. That's really nice deep blue. So you saw me mix up the color palette. I went over a couple of ways how I do it. So these are the colors I'll kind of play around with. I'll have them on just a scrap piece of paper. It has, you know, no big deal. You don't have to worry about if it's going to match the finer paper that you have, but you get an idea of the color ranges that you're going to be doing for your particular composition, and what reference and what how you want the flowers to be. You can always take the reference, like I showed you again, and change up the colors. So this reference has some oranges and some reds, and, you know, pale blush colors. You can flip it all around and make it purples and blues. You're just keeping it in the same tonality. So you can change this out to a lighter blue, a turquoise blue, you know, and some purples, and change the whole entire look of the picture just by changing the colors. The colors are very key in this whole entire painting of florals. Obviously, I mean, it's like how you want it to look. The number one thing of all, and the last thing, is creativity. So you have your composition, you have your colors, but how creative are you going to get with that, right? So I showed you the reference, but you know, you don't want to follow that. You want to be creative. You want to have your voice on that piece of paper. And what do I mean by that? Do you want your flowers to bend a certain way? Do you want the petals to kind of look a certain way? If you go on Instagram, or even, you know, just Google like certain artists, you'll see they have a particular style, and it's their slant on how you would recognize their art. So some people like to paint super loose with a lot of loose, watery flowing flowers. Some people like to be more realistic. Some people might want to splatter with the loose flowers. Some people might I have a tendency to paint, when I paint acrylic paintings, my flowers kind of have like this movement to them. So they look like, people keep saying they always look like they're blowing in the wind, and I just didn't even realize that. I just kind of haphazardly started doing that. Obviously the ones back here, you see, don't have that, but that's kind of like a little more serious and realistic kind of way of painting. But when I like to paint the watercolors, because water is also a very free-flowing kind of medium, it's really fun to just paint them in a movement kind of fashion. And you can see them in my YouTube channel. A lot of the loose florals that I have done have that wishy-washy movement to them, and that's just my style. And so you will figure out your style as you do more and more painting. As you practice and you keep going, you'll look back from a year ago and you say, wow, like I've grown. Yes, because now you're coming into your own of like how you want to paint it, how it wants to look, what colors you like to go. So a lot of people gravitate towards certain colors, and you'll notice that. It's just, that's the style, and then that's how you get your style. In the beginning, you mostly copy, but as you get better and more confident, you're going to find, okay, I'm going to try it this way. You got to get yourself out of that box. You push yourself in that other box. So that's the number one thing that everyone artist wants to have, is be very creative and different and stand out from the crowd. So now I'll begin my painting process. I had sped this painting up because it's don't want to make the video too long, but you see I took those colors that I showed you earlier, and I'm mixing them and creating these composition of this floral design that that really reflects who I am as a watercolor painter. A little bit of loose, a little bit of tight. I like to make the flowers have an expression. I have a slant on the composition. I'm kind of going on an angle from right down to left. And it's just the way I would express the particular reference that I saw and the way I like to paint. I like to use the Princeton 8 long round because it has that tip and a belly, so you can make those really fine lines for like stems and leaves, and the belly for making the flowers and the leaves fuller. It's a fun brush to play around with. It's always good to have a few really good brushes. You don't need to have a ton of them. Obviously, you see in many of my tutorials, I'm using this particular brush a lot. I use an oval brush. I use a big brush sometimes, and I like the flat brushes for really loose watercolors. So you can sit back and enjoy and see how I manipulate the brush and the colors and create that composition I was talking about earlier in the first 3 C's. So there you see I took the creativity from the color, the composition, and whatnot to create this floral. I got the inspiration from this, but I created my own little vignette of floral. Obviously, the flowers, you know, are not going to be the same. I don't have a lot of white in this one. I put it more peach. My anemone is a little more my style, and these flowers too, but I got the looseness and the idea of the stems from the photograph, or I just created the composition too. And then I've added, you know, initially you saw this color palette, but I decided to add in a pale purple, as you can see here, like a lavender kind of, and I can go back in and tweak it, but you know, you'll generally see me use my Princeton long 8 round brush because of the tip. And you can create these fun little pointy little textural stems from it, and then also push it down in a certain way to create fatter leaves. I love this brush. But my style, I like to keep it loose, and I can love the tip. I love to make these little markings. You know, it might not be for you. You might want bigger, fatter leaves. You will find your voice and your style as you keep constantly playing with the watercolor every single time. Just keep playing with it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of the 3 C's. I think it's important to have simple tools to help you figure out to make the best painting for yourself in watercolor. This is my 3C creation. So, you know, you see a process in how I create these kind of florals and designs. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description box below. I have exclusive tutorials there every Thursday with the download PDF it's like a traceable to go along with it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. Take care, guys. I hope this was helpful. I'll speak to you soon.